Hello and welcome to the Love Talk, and today is the second part of our case study, which we've been studying since last week, ETIANDRO and Lisandra's story, which we were able to cover some very good points.
Indeed, because like we said last week, the objective of this program in particular is to pinpoint the mistakes that they've made throughout their relationship to teach you so you don't need to make the same mistakes, so you can get to where you want to go faster.
Yes, because when you learn with somebody else's mistake, you are wise.
Indeed.
Right? You don't have to go through those mistakes yourself. So, but before we continue, it's time for Dear Love Talk. And this is Dear Love Talk time. And if you'd like to send your questions so we can answer them here, you can send us your questions to questions@lovetalkshow.tv, and we will be more than glad to help you through this segment. Okay? So let's go into the first question right now. My mom is behaving in a way that I don't agree with. She's gotten herself into a relationship with someone who lives abroad and is a complete stranger to me. She's already made declarations of love to him and posted pictures of them both on social networks. It's painful to watch, as I don't want her to get hurt like she did with my dad. She has even traveled to meet him and hid this from me and certain relatives. We are worried about her. What do I do? What do I say to her? How do I help her? Well, there's only so much you can do, basically, because I believe your mother is a grown-up person. And I mean, you can try give her some advice. I think that the fact that she hid it from everyone goes to show that she is unwilling to get any kind of advice. Usually when people do that kind of thing, it's because they know on the back of their minds that they are doing something wrong. Therefore, she's avoiding being scrutinized, being questioned, being, I don't know, as they say, confronted about this. So we understand your desire to see your mother doing well. We understand your desire to see her doing better in relationships. But as I said, at the end of the day, she's a grown-up and she does whatever she has in mind. I mean, if you already confronted her before, if you already tried to help her, some people, sometimes all they have to do, all is left for them to do is just hurt themselves so they can learn the lesson.
I think it's going to be very hard for the mother to give ears to what the child has to say. We don't know the age of this person who wrote to us, but it's going to be quite impossible.
Because usually, grown-ups, especially parents, they will say to their children, who are you to give me advice? I know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
When in fact, they don't know what they're doing. So what we advise you to do is you take that as a lesson and don't copy. Do the right thing. Apparently, you know what is better because you know what's best because you are concerned about your mother, and I believe you wouldn't do what she's doing right now. So sometimes we learn with bad examples. So learn with this example. Don't try and force anything onto your mother because, at the end of the day, you yourself end up getting hurt and you get upset, frustrated, and it's not going to work.
I think this is a classic example of that saying that love is blind. You see, she met this guy, now she's declaring her love online. It seems she has set her mind that this is the one, this is going to work. Even the child can see that there's a part in the question that says it's painful to watch. Maybe because it's too soon, the mother is just...
Or maybe the way she goes about it. Yeah. And the saddest part is that it should be the opposite. The mother should be giving her advice on that.
Yeah.
And it's the other way around. So
one thing that you can do is tell your mother to watch the show.
Yes.
So she can learn intelligent love.
Visit the website, lovetalkshow.tv. She may learn some good lessons there. And watch our previous shows on our YouTube channel. I'm pretty much sure she's going to learn some good lessons there. So let's go into the second question now. Question number 2, how do I overcome the hurt of betrayal in a practical way? You hear a lot about using your head and not your heart, but how do you put this into practice when you're still hurting from a past betrayal? And I think that's when intelligent love demands even more. Because if you're hurting from a past relationship that didn't work, and you're hurt, that means you're going to have to force even more your brain, your reasons, so that you can to use your reasons, pardon me, so you can get over those even memories that may keep coming back to your mind. It's not an easy thing. When we talk about intelligent love, using more your reason rather than your emotions, it's easier said than done. But it's possible, it's doable. We've seen people achieving that through the seminars that we hold. We have seen people overcome that. We ourselves, we did that. I don't know what you've been through. Based on what you're saying, perhaps it's something that really hurt you. Nevertheless, I can affirm to you that it's doable. You have to, first value yourself. Put yourself over what happened in the past, way above, okay? If you're hurting, it's probably because you've been the victim. I believe you may have made some mistakes, but more mistakes were made towards you than you yourself made mistakes towards that person. So analyze what happened in the past, okay? I'm not saying for you to keep blaming him or her. I don't know if it's a lady now or a man, but get over that, okay? Value yourself. Look back and see what happened. I'm pretty sure that you see that, you don't have a reason to feel that way anymore. If that person made the mistake of hurting you, then that person lost a pearl. It's not you who lost something valuable. It's him or her who lost you, who could have been now his, spouse or partner for the rest of his or her life. So have some self-value, because most likely the person who hurt you is already living another life somewhere else, and I don't even know if that person is even caring about you.
Here's the thing. When it comes to the heart, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to betrayal or a relationship that didn't work, a breakup, a terrible breakup, and you're hurting from these things, it is normal that you will feel that way for a while. So we don't know if the betrayal happened in the marriage, maybe, it hurts much more if the person has been married for a while and she was betrayed. But it's that idea of, you don't always follow what you feel, When you wake up Monday morning, you're very tired. The last thing you want to do is go to work. So you feel like not going, but your mind tells you, I have to get up and I have to go. So you do what you know you have to do despite how you feel. Mm-hmm. The same principle will apply here. Although you feel hurt because you've been betrayed, you trusted somebody who betrayed that trust, you need to decide, it's time for me to move on. Yes, I'm hurting, but there is better ahead. Yeah, and I'm not going to act on how I am feeling.
You can't be defined by feelings, because feelings, they change from time to time. So you may feel one way today, tomorrow you feel, different. So if you base your life on feelings, then you're not even yourself anymore. So you have to get over those feelings, put them behind, turn that page and move forward, okay? And value yourself, most importantly. And question number 3, I think we have time for one question. How do I get my husband to stop watching porn? I've spoken to him countless times. I've shouted at him and even gone to the extent of threatening to leave, but he can't stop. It's affecting our relationship and it's degrading me as a woman. How do I get him to stop? First of all, pornography is an addiction, most importantly. So your husband should be treated as an addict. Second of all, you see that you are losing your temper, your control over the situation, to the point you have shouted, you have threatened him, to no avail. It's not working. So I think it's time that she doesn't threaten him anymore, but she puts her foot down.
Exactly.
Right? Which means, listen, if from now on you don't change, if you don't take a different approach to this situation, if you don't stop, this is it. Until you change, you stay where you are, and I'll move on with my life. Not necessarily advocating that you divorce your husband, but you have to, set limits. You have to build boundaries and say, hey, listen, enough, stop right there. If you continue that, you're going to live your life, I'm going to live mine, period. Because after all, you feel betrayed. It's almost like a betrayal. It's almost like you're having an affair without having a physical affair with somebody else. So, yes, you're right to feel the way you are feeling. And you have all the reasons, all the rights to, to do what you're about to do. You've threatened him to leave. To leave him, pardon me. And he didn't change. So I think it's time that she takes some more drastic measures.
That's the problem with many relationships, when one is addicted to anything, to substance, to anything. When there is, sometimes even the phone, even social media, now there is that, people are addicted to their phones. Whenever there is any kind of addiction, that's the problem that one of them face. They want the other to change, but all they do is like this wife has done. She shouted at him, she has threatened him, but he didn't change, so what? So what you have showed him is that, okay, you're going to shout, yeah, you're going to complain, but at the end of the day, nothing's going to change. Yeah, you're going to stay right there. That's the problem. Many women say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to leave, but they never do. So I think you need to have a serious conversation with your husband, because if he finds that their marriage is more important than his addiction, then he needs help. He needs to seek help. And
also, if it feels like he's not getting from his wife what he's getting from watching those movies, why does he need that, right? Does he need an extra thing to spice things up? There's no need for that. So you have to put your foot down, as she said, confront him, and from now on, this is it. Until he changes. Don't tell him, listen, either you change or this is going to happen. No, you have to tell him that it's changing now. Listen, it's over. Until you change, until you show me proofs that you have changed, that you're a different man, that you're no longer hooked up to that, to pornography, we're not together anymore. That's how it has to be done. Otherwise, you keep losing value. He's not valuing you anymore. He's not giving you any value whatsoever. And you yourself, by accepting that, you're not valuing yourself.
And some people, because they are addicted, they want to change, they try to change, and they can't. So they need more than just I'm going to change it. They decided and they will change. Some people need more than that. So maybe your husband is one of them. He needs help. He needs help overcoming his addiction. Yeah. So if you go to our website, lovetalkshow.tv, Intelligent Love also helps you with that. So if you get in touch with us, we can help you. We can refer him to somewhere where he can get help. Both of you can get help, and you can restore
But the first,
your marriage.
The first step is to do that, is to confront. Okay? He needs help. Yes, he needs help. But the first help he needs is to realize that he's being silly, that he's being a fool by doing what he's doing and jeopardizing the whole relationship because of this addiction. I don't even know if they have children, which would make matters worse. So this is it for today. If you'd like us to answer to any questions or any doubts you have, or any situation you're facing in your relationship as a married person, you're dating, or you're single, write to us to questions@lovetalkshow.tv, and we will answer your questions in this segment. Hello, our YouTube viewers. We are the presenters of the Love Talk Show.
I am Rafa.
And you know who I am, Luke. And we are here to encourage you to share this channel with your friends, your family members. Invite them to watch our shows, because our desire is to help couples and singles do better in their relationships or future relationships. So subscribe to this channel, share on your Facebook page, share the link with everyone you know, so that it can learn intelligent love.
Also, leave us your comments and your questions.
For me, in the beginning was okay, because I used to see this, like couples like going out in different ways. So for me, it was normal in the moment when she used to call me, or I used to call her. She's in the club, because for me it was good, because the more time she's busy with the friends, for me it's good, because I was with the friends as well. I say, okay, so let's do this. She's with her friends, I'm with my friends, I'm drinking, I'm here, relaxing. So she's not gonna arrive home earlier, so that means she's not gonna call me. So, and then I can spend more time with them. When I go home, I'll call her, and in my mind was like, okay, she cannot point a finger, say, oh, you went out, you drink, or you do this or that. So, because she was doing the same thing as well. In my mind was, okay, so that's fine, I like it. But the point that when the things was getting more serious in our relationship, of course, I was like, okay, that's no good.
So this is not normal in a relationship. This is not a relationship at all. When, husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend, they do whatever they want. It's like there's a free pass to behave as you wish. Not knowing, not understanding that, whether you like it or not, when you get married or when you engage in a relationship with somebody else, you lose a little bit of that freedom. It's a commitment.
Yeah, you can't just, I have to give no explanation whatsoever of my behavior. So yeah, I'm dating you, but here on the side, I date others, I go wherever I want, I don't reply to your messages, I talk to you whenever I want, you do the same, and we are in a relationship. That's not a relationship.
Some people may say, okay, but while we are dating, that's valid, right? Well, to be honest, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Because the idea of dating is so that you can get to know that person, see where that's gonna take you to, and perhaps, deciding to commit to each other and get married. So unless you're willing to play with each other's feelings, date for, I don't know, for how long, only God knows, which is something that I would like to mention here real quick. Some people date for, I've spoken to people who date for 8 years, for 5 years. People have been dating for 10 years, but that's not dating anymore. As far as we are, as far as we know, the dating period or the courting period, as they say, is the period in which you get to know the other person. I don't know, for a year and a half, or 2 tops, and then, okay, this is what we want. You are the one. We have everything in place. So let's move on and make this. Let's turn this into a more serious relationship and get married. But dating for, I don't know, years on end, it's like, it's no wise, because what are you trying to accomplish there? I know we don't want commitment. We just, it's
whatever.
Free, there's not even a name for that. It's a free kind of relationship. You're free, it doesn't work.
That's one typical mistake people make. No, we have to experience. We have to experience, we have to try, we have to... Yeah, so do that without bringing someone else to that experience. So if you want to do whatever you want, you don't want to give explanation, you want to reply to the person whenever you want, give attention whenever you want, then just do it on your own.
Be alone.
You don't need to do all that with somebody else, because that is just setting yourself up for...
You're actually not doing that with somebody else, because the somebody else is not there with you. So you're doing that on your own. So you are in a relationship.
Doing it to the person.
To the person. So, I mean, then later on you complain when you're hurt.
Yeah.
When you get hurt. Oh, I don't like when he does that. I don't like when she does that. Okay, but what are you doing to the other person? So, you see, that what you just heard from them now wasn't a relationship. They were just playing with each other's feelings, right? So let's continue.
Because sometimes I was home and I called her, I remember. She wasn't home and what happened? How come? I'm home ready to speak with her and she's not home. She's not picking up the phone. And then I realized she was with a friend, a female. She used to drive and then they used to go around and around the city and stuff for a party. So at that time I said, okay, if I start doing this, I'm going to lose her. Because the more I do, she will try to do the same to affect me. Because in my mind, it was normal, this kind of life. But her was doing to affect me at the point that it was like starting to affect me. Because I used to call her or trying to speak with her, she wasn't there. At the beginning, she was there all the time. But of course, when you have something in your hand all the time, you don't give value, right? When you start to lose, then you worry, oh, what happened? I was in control of the situation, but now she's not here anymore. So that was the start. I mean, that was when I was giving like a value. Okay, trying to calm down, like myself, about parties, clubs, drinking, and women. I was like, okay, I need to get mature about the situation and trying to give more respect to her or our relationship. And of course, it wasn't overnight, the change, but it happened. It was hard for me because I had no basis about relationship, to be honest. So I have to learn with her from some people like in streets. They used to have like basis on the marriage and stuff. So talking to people and I have to calm down. Otherwise I'll lose her. And I was in love, so by the way, even though doing things wrongs, like everything's wrong, but that was like just a attraction, but she was the special.
Yeah, because he started to change when I started changing, because I said to myself, if I carry on like this, because I cannot be influenced by what is not good anymore, because that wasn't me. Like I said, it wasn't me. So I started to do the opposite for him to really, to see that there was a difference in me. So I started to change. So if I was the kind of person to call him, like he would get probably like 40 missed calls in an hour period, right? Yeah. So I stopped doing that. I started to look at myself differently. I started to give value to myself because all these problems caused inside of me a depression. I was depressed. So I would cry all the time for no reason. I would drink even more. So I was really, really depressed to the point that I thought if I died, not even my mom would realize I was dead. So that relationship was causing even bigger problems inside of me. So I said, I cannot put all this power in someone else. Like all my life wasn't on him, was because of him. So I said no. I had to. So I found in myself value in myself, so that I could not change him, but change my situation. I put the focus on me and what I needed to change. Because there was no point in me telling him not to drink if I was doing the same things. So, because as a woman, because when you are I'm a woman, I can speak for women. You think that no one can say anything to you just because you are a woman. No one can point a finger to you because you are a woman. No one can say like this, oh, you're drinking too much, you are wrong. No one can say that because, oh, you're being sexist, or you're being, you are, being negative towards me, you're hurting my feelings. So I stopped all these kind of thoughts, and I said, just because in my mind I had a reason to do it, doesn't make it right to do it. Just because I'm a woman and no one can tell me anything, or I'm the victim here. So I stopped doing those things, and I said, you know what, from now on, I'm going to stop, to show him that there is another side of this life. There is not only drinking and keeping this mentality. So yeah, that's what I started to do. I stopped calling him all the time. I wouldn't go out anymore. I started to, to invest in my faith. I started to, to really do things that would add to my life and not to degrade my self-value even further. So that's what I started to do, and he then noticed. That's when he was also looking for things to change inside of him, and to ask for advice and so on.
You see, that's very interesting, because when she wised up, when she realized, this is not me, I'm doing this to hurt him, she realized she was really hurting herself, her principles, who she was. She decided, I'm not going to betray who I am, and I'm going to change.
She was losing her identity.
Yes.
She was doing that, because he was doing that to her.
Yeah.
But she wasn't being herself anymore.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, when she decided to change, she didn't do it for him. She didn't do it because of him, to call his attention. She did it for herself. She deserved to be better. She deserved better than what she was doing to herself. Many people in relationships, they say, if that person only changed, if my partner changed, things would change. And they keep waiting, or they keep complaining, they keep expecting it. But when in fact, change attracts change. So she started changing, not for him, not because of him, or even because of the relationship, just because of her. He noticed.
And you see, she had no reason to do that for him, because he was disappointing her. He was letting her down. He was behaving, let's put it in a very nasty way. So she had no reasons to do that based on what he was doing. So she did that for herself. That's what we were mentioning in the first part of the case study. When you value yourself, when you love yourself first. Remember that in the first part of the case study, she said that he was the son of her planet. And if he continued being the son of her planet, she would keep losing identity, right? But right now we see Lisandra's different approach, the whole situation. You see that how now she's using this, and it's causing everything to spin around, right? And we see that changes begin to occur. So she decided to be herself and do the right thing.
And you see, when she was thinking of him, going after him, texting him, trying to control his actions, nothing changed. When she decided, I'm gonna do the same and call his attention and make him pay and make him hurt, nothing changed. When she left, I'm gonna leave him, he wants to do that, let him do it. I'm going to think on myself first. He noticed.
And that provokes a change in the partner. Why? Because he or she will feel left behind. Because now I see that you're not playing my game anymore. You're not down here anymore. You are up. So I don't have anything to use against you anymore, because you're changing. You're becoming superior, not in a bad way, not in a way to humiliate the other, but you are being who you are. You're supposed to be, and you're not using the same dirty tricks to get to me. So I feel compelled to change.
Because I can't blame you anymore.
Yeah.
Up to that point, I have reasons to blame. No, I am like this because look at what you're doing. Look at what you're not doing. When you change, you take that from the person. They can't blame you. So the blame now is on them, because you are doing the right thing. You are doing everything right. So if this is not working, it's not your fault anymore. So the person stops having a reason to blame you. Sometimes that doesn't cause a change in them, and the only thing you are left to do is to move on. But many times, many people who come to us and we help them, we talk to them, This is exactly what causes a change. A change in them that they decided to make in themselves, for themselves, attracts the change they want in the other one. So that was a nice, very nice point in their story, I think.
That's right.
Do you know what intelligent love is? But you can find out on our site. It's lovetalkshow.tv. Many people, they struggle in love, in their relationships. They keep losing their hearts, their feelings, and everything always goes to waste. So if you want to learn to love intelligently, that's the place you should visit. lovetalkshow.tv. We also have our Facebook page, our Instagram page, Love Talk Show. So visit us.
I just agree with everything she said.
In 2011, I went to Angola to renew my visa because I was a student in America. And I started having problems to renew the visa because instead of me studying, I was partying. Of course, my grade was low. So in embassy, it was a problem. They said, no, we cannot give you a visa again because you're not studying, your grades are so low, and so it was a few months in Angola fighting to get the visa until the day that, after, of course, seeing her change, it caused my attention as well because she became like mature. I took a decision. Instead of me keep fighting to go to America, go back to America, or stay in Angola with my parents, so I decided to come to UK. It was in 2012. I came in August, and of course our relationship was getting stronger, like something not playing anymore. And when I arrived in August, we got married in December. So from that point, before I arrived, of course, our relationship was getting stronger. It wasn't like fighting, it wasn't like arguing all the time. I was not crazy like I used to be, like 3 or 4 years before that. So it was strong. And then I took the decision, I'm going to England to study. So that's when I came.
So as we can see, once again, once one changes, once one person takes that step to change, it provokes, you know, the so famous domino effect, the positive one. But obviously that change comes when you start using your reasons. Because until now, not until now, but up to this moment in their story, we see them acting all over the place. Feelings running high, and the feeling of revenge and paying back, and you know, they were all over the place. But because one of them decided to, okay, act more reasonably, then, you know, that provoked a change. It turned the tide,
Yeah.
right? In a good way, in a positive way. And then ETIANDRO began to see that in her, and there was only one thing to do: either change or lose her.
Yeah. And
Because that's how it has to be. Once the person rediscovers self-love, value, that person must be ready to go for all or nothing. So ETIANDRO now would have to either change or lose Lisandra.
And many people, they say, you know, my partner is very stubborn. He knows he needs to change. He has to act differently, but he's just not willing to. Some other arguments are, he doesn't deserve it. I know I have to change. I know I have to behave differently as well. It's not all his fault. I have my fault, but he doesn't deserve, or she doesn't deserve that I do that. So both keep butting heads. Nobody changes. One keeps I'm gonna wait. No, he comes to me first, or he changes first. I'm not gonna do it. Nobody changes. The relationship doesn't change because they think that both have to be willing. And although that's ideally both realize, they talk, they come to an understanding, okay, let's make changes in our behavior, in both of us. that's ideal. That's not always
Because usually
possible.
we know it's the fault of both.
Of course.
Because that's the idea, for both to change. But that's a little bit of offensive, because it doesn't really work like that. One must take that step, you know, must put the foot down, must be more reasonable, and apply the change, that first change. And then expect. I believe that Lisandra ran the risk of losing him. But, I mean, she understood that it was a time for her to value herself a bit more.
Yeah, and so if you understand that all it takes is one, maybe a partner doesn't want to change, but if you change, all it takes, only one. If one of you, if one in the relationship decides, you know, I'm going to do differently. The things that I know I must change, I'm going to do. I'm not going to look to whether he wants to change or not, whether he deserves or not. I'm going to change for myself. As a woman, as a person, as a man, I'm going to do it for me. If one does that, chances are, and that's what happens, that's what we teach. This is what intelligent love is. If one is willing to do that, that creates a change on the other person.
And the person may think like this, no, but if I do that, I may lose him, I may lose her. But then, I mean, you've already lost everything. You've lost, first of all, your identity, self-worth, self-value. And whether you like it or not, you're losing that relationship and you're losing that person. Because if you don't value yourself, how do you expect that the other person you value? For example, if I try to sell you this blouse here right now, but I introduce the blouse to you in a way that even myself, my own words, do not, you know, spark some interest in you, because the way I speak, the way I'm trying to sell it, I am undervaluing my product. So if I am undervaluing my product, what makes me believe that you buy it?
Yeah.
If I don't value it myself, so no, I have to speak in a way, I have to make it look in a way that, you know, you have to buy it. So I value it first, and then you also give you value. So that first step is very important. Okay, if you're running the risk of losing that person, so be it. Because anyway, perhaps the way it is right now is not working, it's not functioning, and you're getting hurt. Okay?
And you may come to the conclusion that you deserve better. Another mistake people make is to think, time will change it. Yeah, things are bad right now, but with time changes nothing. It's you who make the change. Time makes things worse. So don't wait for time to change a relationship. Do you want a change to happen? Start with yourself.
Yeah, you're actually running out of time.
Wasting time.
Because you're running, the reason why I'm saying you're running out of time, it's because, you know, it's going to come to a point in which this relationship will be completely irreparable.
Yeah.
And it's too late. Okay? So let's go now into the final part of their story, and we'll be back with the conclusions.
I started watching the Love Talk online, you know, the programs. So I started to learn how to have a healthy relationship. So when because I worked those things out before I went into a marriage, then when we actually got married, it was very good. At the beginning was very good, and it still is. I said at the beginning, it's still very good. So because we worked out those things, but obviously there was always differences that we had to work. One of the things was that because we were so used to be far away, we all tend to live our own separate lives. So it was not hard, but it was something that we had to work to adjust to do things together, to ask each other's opinions all the time. Because before I was always very independent. I started working very early in my life, so I was like, you know, I don't need anyone. I had that mentality, I don't need men in my life. I graduated, I don't need anyone. But in my marriage, I had to change all these ideas, all these thoughts. So we had to adjust how to work things together instead of being two individuals in the same house. So yeah, that was one of the main things.
So she introduced me to Love Talk. So by attending, so of course my mentality was open. Like I was learning how to have basis. I was learning how to respect. I learned that woman is not like a object, so I can treat the way I want. I have to respect. So before marriage, of course, starting watching Love Talk, and then I was realizing, okay, what I'm doing is wrong. So if I want to stay with her, I have to stop, and I have to give value to our relationship. That was when I took the decision to come and to marry as well. So today, 4 years married. Yeah, 4 years. Yeah, 4 years married. We have a daughter. She's 3 years old. And yeah, our relationship is, I would like her to talk about it. Because I was the one who made her suffer. So you talk.
Yeah, so the relationship is totally different from obviously the beginning, from our past and how we started. Although it started very wrong, everything was, everything was set up to fail. Although it had that beginning, we through our change, through our inner change, we were able to fix those problems, because the problem is not in marriage itself. It's in the individual itself who needs to fix and change those things within, so it can work. Otherwise, if you're not flexible enough to adjust, to change, to acknowledge your wrongs as well, because as a woman, I know that we tend to put ourselves in the victim place all the time. No, it's him, and cry, eat ice cream, and all these things. But it's not about that. It's about you knowing yourself and admit when you are wrong as well, and changing. So in our marriage, we have learned how to put those things into practice, really. Not just to say, oh yeah, I need to fix this, and then you never do anything about it. We are a work in progress, right? We're always working on things. There's always new situations, new challenges where we have to fight together as a team, right? Not against each other, but against the situations that we face. So this is what, keeps us going and getting stronger by the day.
If I need to speak with the guys, my kind of personality is, I'm very straight. So it's yes, yes, no, no. So to advise them, I can tell, listen, whatever you do, I'm sure I was worse than you. So if I change, so that means we can change. And of course, I explain to them the problems you're gonna face in the future. And by doing this, what is the result? What is the consequence? In my case, I don't know if I say I was lucky or something about it, because I didn't get any disease. I didn't get any woman pregnant or something, but there is some people used to live the life, or living the life I used to live, so they're getting a lot of problems. So my advice to them is, sometimes I have to sit down with them and be very strong and say, listen, by doing this, you are feeling good, you are feeling the king, but you're going nowhere. And then I can prove, because whatever they want to speak with me, I'll be able to talk about it, right? And then I can show the result and the problems, and I can show the results like now, like my marriage. So listen, by doing this, I was lost, going nowhere. So by doing this direction, so you can have the happiness and peace in a relationship like I have now for 4 years.
The lessons that I've learned throughout these years is, first to stop looking just at the other person, and to look inside of you, look at yourself, focus in yourself for you to be a better person. See if you yourself are not causing those problems, because sometimes what I've seen in myself was that I was the one who was in that relationship. So I was allowing myself to be in that relationship also. So it wasn't only him who was doing the wrong things. Yeah, he was, the bad one. No, I was also allowing myself to be in that situation. So I've learned that. I've learned to stop and to look at myself in order to be able to change things. So even, because sometimes I say, even if I wasn't with him, but because I became someone that values myself today, then I would be able to have a healthy relationship, with that person. So that was one of the main lessons that I've learned, and to never judge also, because it was very easy for me to just look at him and judge him and say, look, you are this, you are that. But the moment I stopped doing that and started to look at myself, that was when things really, really changed.
Hello everyone, we are here to invite you to our Love Talk seminars every Thursday at 8 p.m. on the address that you can see here at the bottom of your screen. You can also find more details on our website, lovetalkshow.tv. You find events throughout the year. They are all free, where you're going to learn a lot about relationships. Singles and couples are invited. Our desire is to share with you a little bit of what we've been through, and also, help you with prayers, with advice, with counseling, down-to-earth teachings in which will help you become a better man, a better woman, a better husband, a better wife, and see, better results of your investment when it comes to relationships. Okay, every Thursday, 8 p.m., Love Talk Live on this address here that you see at the bottom of your screen. I can only imagine having a child living that way. That would be really difficult, right? Everything that ETIANDRO didn't want to become, he became because he didn't have
a
reference, good role models. Their child would be now growing up, having awful role models. But thankfully they made the right decision, which began with Lisandra's decision, and ETIANDRO also came to realize that, and we have to also highlight here that many men don't do that.
Oh yeah.
Because pride will not allow them to do that. So some would simply walk away or, remain the same.
Mm-hmm. Refuse to change. So he decided also to change, and kudos to him for that, because salvaged his marriage, and today they're happy, as we could see. Yeah, and this is a nice story because it's a real story. It's not like the fantasies, the illusions that movies show.
This is true, real love story.
Yeah.
No. It's not like those things you see on TV, on Hollywood, and you read on books. No, this is real. This is reality.
And the reason why we wanted to play it to you is so that you don't have to you can have the same outcome without having to make the same mistakes they made, because now we gave you quite a few pointers for you to take and analyze your own life, your relationship, so you don't need to suffer and wait a long time to get it right. You don't need to suffer. You don't need to learn from your own mistakes. You can look at the mistakes of other people and learn before you make them and get the result you want much faster.
Remember that if you learn with your own mistakes, so you're very smart, no doubt about it. But if you learn with somebody else's mistakes, then that makes you a wise person, okay? So we'd like to thank ETIANDRO and Lisandra for coming all the way from Manchester with their child to record their story, their testimony. Thank you very much. And we're gonna wrap up here right now, but before that, we want to leave you with the 3 most annoying things.
Because even the happiest of couples annoy each other sometimes.
Did you see her finger pointing at me? Okay. I will just ignore that one.
Yeah, let's pretend.
So this is it, guys. We see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The three most annoying things from Lisandra is, first, she doesn't know how to sleep. We go to bed and sleeping like a normal couple. In the morning, her leg is on me or some part of her is on top of me, so I can't sleep properly. If I try to move, she's there like trying to, like, I feel like block. I can't sleep sometimes.
Number one, it would be when he rushes me. When he rushes me, not to get ready, because I do get ready before him always. But I don't like when he rushes me to do things.
When we have to sleep, sometimes it's late, it's already midnight. And she's kind of person that she can go to bed if the house is not tied perfectly. She would clean the house midnight or 1 a.m., but the house has to be clean, the kitchen and everything organized, and then we go sleep. And sometimes I want to sleep early or waiting for her. So, and she take ages to put everything in place.
He's a bit of a perfectionist. So when he likes things to be done in a certain way. So yes, that sometimes annoys me as well.
Sometimes I want to be quiet, and she's kind of person that she talks a lot. I want to be in silence, watching TV or doing something I'm doing, and she's there talking all the time. So that's the thing really sometimes annoys me from her, from Lisandra.
Another thing that annoys me is when he doesn't listen. So I would be speaking to him and then he just doesn't listen. It's like he's in a different world. So I'm there speaking to him and he just, what? And then it actually not even what. So he just looks at me and it's like I'm not saying anything. That is so annoying. That's one of the most annoying things about him.
And that's all for today's Love Talk show. Be sure to tune in next week to learn more on how to love intelligently.